Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Let's Dream podcast. Tonight we have another great dreamer. His name is Jokum, and we met on the Reddit forum, and he has a lot of interesting dreams to share with us. How's it going, Jokum?
I'm doing good, personally. Other than the fact that it took us 1 billion years to coordinate all this, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to answer some questions related to dreams.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm very glad to have you, and you've shared some really interesting dreams with me. But before we get into the dream stories, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, why do you think we dream? What do you think when you think of dreams? Like, why do you think we do that?
Oh, if you want to get into scientifically, it's your brain processing all the information you've had from the day and just throwing it all into one random trash fire image that you see while you sleep. That's what dreams are inherently. But sometimes, I actually don't have anything to say about that. It's just random trash fire neuron signals.
Okay, I like that answer. And then, okay, so kind of like a piggyback off of that question, then why do you think some people seem to have the ability to lucid dream? Why do you think lucid dreaming happens?
That's your brain figuring out that, oh, we're in this miscellaneous trash fire. Hey, what can we do with this? And I think, at least, I'm not a lucid dreamer. I've only gotten close to lucid dreaming once, even.
Okay. Well, I really like your to the point, very straightforward explanations. Actually, I really like that.
Yes. That's oftentimes a problem with me, as I'm overly blunt.
No, that's okay. That can some people like myself appreciate that. But okay, so then let me ask you: have you ever had a dream that felt like it lasted years or months?
In dreams, I've only had one where I distinctly remember it being a specific time. I think I was 5 years old, and I was sitting down in the front room of my home on the carpet, dawdling about with whatever I was. The room is very dark. It's on the front of the house, so it's usually very, very bright. Big window.
Okay.
And I distinctly remember, oh, it's a Sunday, we have to go to church. I don't go to church. And I remember being very, very pissy over the fact that I had to go to church, despite the fact that I never have gone to church. Then by some figure who I can't remember anymore, it might have never been a human to begin with, they led me out of my house and into a horrifically blinding outside of my driveway. And then the dream ended with me staring at the front of my SUV.
Okay. So how long do you think, what did the time frame feel like for that dream?
I think it was from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I distinctly remember it having that sort of vibe that early Sunday mornings have before you go off and do something.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I like asking that question because I always think about how, time is a lot of it has to do with perception, and sometimes, it feels, even in waking life, it feels like it just speeds by or just takes forever. So it's just interesting to see how, we perceive dream time, even though it's technically, it's all the same amount of time that passes, but the perception just changes everything so much.
Did you know that the average dream only occurs over about 2.5 minutes at most?
Yeah, so I've heard that. Have you ever heard of Stephen LaBarge?
I've never heard of Stephen LaBarge. Do go on about Stephen LaBarge.
He's a neuroscientist from Stanford University, and he's the one that actually was able to scientifically prove that lucid dreaming is a real phenomenon. And that's what he says, that it's usually, it ranges, but yeah, anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes. Although some people apparently can have dreams that are as long as 1 to 2 hours. So
if you mind if I derail you, there was a man once, he was playing his sports or whatever, got knocked unconscious, and whilst in this 15-minute coma, he dreamt he lived 20 years and had a child and a happy wife and a happy family, and he was happy as contrasted to depressed outside him. He woke up and he almost instantly spiraled into a wicked depression, like hallucinating his family outside the peripherals of his vision or whatever.
Whoa. Wow, that sounds really interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. I can believe that. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you by any chance remember the name of the man, or?
No, I don't.
That's okay.
It was a really old post on some social media, like a la Reddit or 4chan or something like that, which means it's, of course, got a 50-50 of being true or not.
Yeah.
But it's still an interesting thought to think of in general.
Well, I mean, because I've had dreams before where it's like I'm an avid lucid dreamer, and I'm like I obsess over it sometimes, and I'll keep very detailed journals. And like one time I remember I had a dream where I was on another planet, and like we had to go on this adventure to hunt like dinosaurs, kind of like in Monster Hunter, if you've ever played that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And yeah, basically it ended up feeling like it lasted like a really, really long time. Like when I woke up, it took me a minute. I was like, oh, I guess I'm me. I guess this is real life.
Yeah, I've had lots of dreams involving hunting things, as you know. There was one. This dream is the closest I've ever come to being in a lucid dream. I was hunting the rake, if you know what that is. It's a real spindly, skeleton-y, pale, skin stretched over bone, like urban legend type deal.
Okay.
And I distinctly remember I was wearing like a hunting getup, like flannel shirt, like big Ushanka hat, boots, rifle. And I was chasing this thing through forest, and the forest suddenly turned to vast, empty desert with like just a big platform in the middle of it, like a wooden one, like a hunting stand on a tree trunk, like a big tree trunk. My quarry jumped up onto this platform. I, with super strength, apparently jumped up with it. It jumped back down. I jumped back down. When I hit the ground, I felt the shock, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in a dream." And then I woke up, disappointed, to be honest.
Nice. Well, yeah, that's so. I don't know why that happens. Sometimes it's like, sometimes something like really visceral will happen in a dream, and I'll feel more pulled into the dream, and then other times it'll happen, and then I'll just immediately get like woken up. So I don't know what that's about.
I wish I could relate to you.
But so as far as the other thing I wanted to ask is, have you ever had any dreams that felt more real than this reality right now?
No, all of my dreams are like very, very vague and poorly compiled, like urban legends or complete shitposts, like really poorly made video memes or something.
Okay. Huh. Okay. Well, interesting.
Like, I had a dream. I write for fun. It's not very good, and I'm frankly embarrassed by all of it, but I had a dream one of my characters was just face down in a dumpster while multicolored lights were just flashing all around me.
Okay, I see. Well, all right. So it's all kind of like how you described it in the beginning. It's very related to what you experience in the waking life, which that's yes. I also think it's the same thing. It's kind of like, you get input from your environment, and your brain is just kind of like trying to sort it all out for the most part. Mm-hmm. Although, I mean, like, I do think, emotions definitely play a significant role in dreams. Sometimes, not all the time. But, yeah. Okay, well, the other thing I wanted to ask is, in terms of dreams, have you ever, I don't know how to say it, like, have you ever tried any psychedelics?
No, I've never tried any psychedelics, no. Okay.
I was going to ask you if you compared, like, if you've had any, like, psychedelic experiences in dreams.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I might have had one if I reached into my brain far enough back. No, I think I remember it, but I'm trying my best to remember. No, I don't think so.
Okay. I only ask because recently I was talking to a friend about how, like obviously a lot of psychedelic drugs are illegal, but
Yes.
his argument was that um, sometimes dreams can be just as an extreme of a psychedelic experience, as actual substances. And I was like, you're right. But the other thing I wanted to ask you is, do you remember what the earliest dream you ever had was? Like your first dream that you remember?
Um. Ooh. 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 I think I do. Maybe. I remember back at that time I had a bunk bed, and I remember just sitting in that bunk bed. I just woke up in the middle of the night in the dream, and I remember being filled with the delusion that like a mechanical fox of some type was inside my closet, like staring at me.
Okay, nice.
That's the earliest dream I remember.
That's
And then I promptly woke up and I was like, "Oh crap! The mechanical fox is in my closet."
How old do you think you were when you had that dream?
Oh, I really have no idea, because that first one I told you about, I distinctly remember, like, I distinctly remember being very small.
Okay.
Like, in the dream itself, I might have been older.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't give a definitive answer.
No, that's okay. That's one thing that I always think is very interesting is that whenever I've never met a person that had no dreams ever. Like I know people that don't dream now, but if I ask them, everybody always seems to remember at least one dream from childhood or at some point in their life. Is that something that's very, I think it's like dreams are kind of like a very essential part to being human.
Yeah.
And
Your brain will overload itself if it does not dream, at least a little bit.
yeah. So I'm always interested to hear like the earliest dreams. Okay, well, those are like pretty much all the questions that I had related to dreams. I mean, I have another one that's not really related to dreams, but I'm just really
Hit me.
interested to hear your answer. So, it's kind of related to dreams, but how would you define or explain consciousness if you had to?
Oh. Sentience and or sapience.
Okay.
Sapience being the capacity of emotion, sentience being, oh wait, I'm real. I'm a species. I'm a thing. Like, yeah.
Okay. I like this. I really like how succinct your answers are. I think that's a sign of clear-headedness. So,
I highly doubt I am very clear-headed at all times.
Okay, well, great. No, I really appreciate the answers. The next thing I really wanted to get into though is some of your dream stories. So, obviously, you've shared a couple with me, which I thought were just hilarious and whimsical and very interesting.
Yeah, they're very strange. It's like something out of Alice in Wonderland, or there was another there's a show called Doro Hey Doro on Netflix that's kind of similar to those, where it's all dark but also colorful and strange and sometimes very violent at times.
Doro, what is it called?
Doro Hey Doro. It's an anime.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that one up.
It's on Netflix. It's really good. It's very colorful. Once again, very colorful, but despite being dark and gritty and gross and that.
Interesting. Okay, I wrote that one down. I'm gonna take a look at it. So I know our listeners love to hear the stories that, and that's really the main thing. And I also really love hearing people's dream stories. So what dream would you like to share, other than the ones you've already shared, but what dream would you like to indulge our listeners in?
I mean, I've pretty much sent you all the major ones. You've only went over one of them on the actual show itself, so I could go over the other one involving 300 euro hurdy-gurdies.
Sure, go ahead.
So, 'twas a warm summer's day. It was summer. I remember it being friggin' scorching when there was a promotion going on at a local music shop, apparently, for 300 euro specifically, not dollars, not anything else, euro, 300 euro hurdy-gurdies. And hurdy-gurdies are interesting mechanically and in sound instruments that cost an arm and a leg, and it pains me every second that I see an expensive one. But this music shop had a promotion going on for cheap hurdy-gurdies, and I was like, oh ho, let's go get a hurdy-gurdy. So I walk in. Within this music shop, it was lined wall to wall to wall to wall with guitars, all of them looking like kind of purpley and samey. Like,
okay.
All the walls. Like, there's a main room, then there was kind of a bigger side room, wall to wall guitars. And within the center of these was like a shipping pallet, basically, of these hurdy-gurdies in their little cardboard box that just said hurdy-gurdy on it in blank font.
Okay.
So I asked for assistance with these hurdy-gurdies, and a total, like, greaseball-looking guy in a wife beater and, like, jeans, wallet chain. Like, he was like, oh, let's go to the back. There's probably some in the back, despite the fact that there was already tons of them there. So we go to the back, and it's just a quiet little, like, grove with a giant boulder in the center of it, covered in moss, big tree off the boulder. Walls lined with other stones and little plants sprouting out of them, covered in moss and such. It was really quite nice. But the guy locked me in there, and then some woman, like forest druid looking woman, came out. She looked like her stomach. Imagine like you put a trapezoid inside of a human person that had very stretchy skin, and just kind of like a very big trapezoid. Like,
okay.
I don't know a very good size definition, but
like a beach ball?
Like a little bit smaller than a beach ball.
Okay.
Like a trapezoid. But imagine you put a trapezoid inside of a human person and just bent it out a little bit to the point where it's kind of like, it looks like it's all going to stretch away from that human person at all times. She looked like she was pregnant with the shape.
Okay.
And she went on about something, God, I can't remember what it was, but it was something, she said something to me. I can't remember what it was, and it's paining me.
And what happened after she said that thing?
She said something to me, and she walked up to one of the stone-encrusted walls and pushed it in. And within the room was within a room within a room was two giant, like, feminine statues with ridiculous, horrible, like, really down bad, horny artist levels of proportions, like giant silver-plated statues with like Daft Punk helmets on, like the one member of Daft Punk who got the silver visor.
Okay.
And they were on like lazy Susans, kind of spinning. And then thus began this musical sequence of I've already sent this to you, but horrible dubstep music while they were like aggressively spinning faster and faster before it finally climaxed where they both posed. Their tatums extended out into sort of hot dog shapes before they just kind of rocketed away and exploded. Then, like, as if we were part of a music video, it zoomed away, and I saw two big, fat, blubbery creatures with big, awful leeches on them. They looked no head. They're like head cleaved off, saw gore everywhere. And they were doing the Macarena. And I distinctly remember waking up so scared and confused. Ooh.
Oh, man.
Oh, I have one more that I just remembered, if you'll allow me to go over that.
Oh, yes, please do.
Me and my family were coming home from a restaurant for some reason. We pulled up into our driveway. We all get out. My dad tosses a hat or something down the driveway for whatever reason, and it duplicates. And we're all like, oh, do it again. So we threw another thing down there, and we just kept doing it. And eventually, we threw it down there, and this horrible looking creature that was called the Crooked Angel popped up. It was spindly, like it looked like it was just made out of like a dream catcher, but like pale white all the way. And it had these horrible wings made out of like very bony wings. Like they didn't have like skin stretched over them like bat wings. It was just like jagged looking protrusions sticking out of its back. And it didn't have a face. It just had kind of a very long twig neck with a little bony pale dot at the top with a big black circle on it. Like, like a hole in its face.
Okay.
And I remember being terrified of this when my dad was like, "Oh, it's fine. Just stop being a wussy." So we went back inside, and I remember going to bed that night and freaking out over this thing. So I woke up in the middle of the night, just out of panic, and I went to my bathroom, and that thing was staring at me in my friggin' mirror.
Oof.
It scared the hell out of me. It was horrible.
Oh, man.
So now I've come to the conclusion that I need to barter with these. Oh, they had a name, like something spirits. They were called like chasm ghosts or something. There's more than one. I'll get to that in a second. But I rushed out. I rushed outside with like a whole bunch of random junk, and the crooked angel and like 3 fishmen of varying size, like very cartoony fishmen. Like one was kind of hunched over, kind of looked like the Hulk, but like a fish for a head. And another one that was very short and stocky, also like Hulk hands, like the big green foam ones that you buy at Target for like $5 and give a child to go assault their sibling with.
Yeah,
it had basically that for hands and legs. And there was another one that was like the in between of that too. And I remember saying, "Hey, crooked angel, Mr. Sir, I'm very sorry that I have annoyed you." And it literally just disappeared then and there. Like all of them, they just kind of faded away into nothing. Like dust.
Wow. That is a lot, man. You have some very interesting, like, the transitions in your dreams are so interesting, along with like the layers of complexity behind them. That's very interesting. I would guess that you're a creative person just from the dreams.
No, not at all. Oh my
god. What about you said you write, but for fun, right? You said you're not.
Yeah, I write just for myself. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. No, man, those are some very entertaining dreams. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure our listeners enjoyed that. One thing I want to ask you is, have you ever had a dream where like a dream character comes up to you and tells you that you're dreaming?
No, I've never had anything like that.
Okay. I just wanted to... Cause...
I have had dreams that come true in very, very specific ways, though. Like, I dreamt once, like, years and years ago.
Oh.
Like, I saw a very specific corridor. I was sitting at a very specific table. And I went to an Italian restaurant a couple months back, and it was that very, very specific corridor and that very, very specific table that I sat at. I was like, oh, hey.
Okay. Wow. Have you ever been to that restaurant prior to having the dream?
Nope.
See,
once again, that was like years ago.
That's okay. Yeah, that's so. Oh man, I don't even know what to make of that, because what do you make of that?
I make of that it was a very generic corridor.
Okay. See, I mean, I guess that could be it. Yeah, because I know.
The problem was the light fixtures were like identical.
Well, I had a similar experience once. So this was when I was in my early 20s. I had a dream, and I've been keeping dream journals since mid-high school. But basically, I had written this dream where, for some reason, I was laying on a bed with my luggage next to me, looking at this window and wall. After I had clearly moved into this room. So this is like maybe 8 months later. I end up moving with my 2 friends into this house, and that exact same scene played out and this is a house that I had never been into before having the dream. And I was really freaked out because I was just laying down on my bed. There was my luggage. I was looking at the window, and I'm like, oh my God, this has happened before. And then I looked at my dream journal because I had written it down. Sure enough, right about 8 months earlier, I had that dream. And at first I was kind of like weirded out by it, but then I stopped and I thought about it. It's like, our brain is constantly scanning and calculating information. What are the possibilities that maybe and it was a house that I know I had driven by. It's possible that it's possible at one point I drove by that house and somehow like something happened where like some of the information, like maybe my brain caught some of the architecture, like how, like the way that the shape of the house or something, and then just kind of like pieced some of it together. Also, there's the whole thing with like, like memory isn't that accountable, really. Like you can't really trust your memory.
No, not really at all.
But I don't know. It's interesting, nevertheless. Like it's kind of like almost like a glitch in the Matrix moment. We're just like, aha.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like having those moments, regardless of the fact that I know that they're probably just there's always a logical explanation.
Yeah.
Oh, and another question I probably should have asked you earlier, and this is the reason I asked this one is because sometimes people, a lot of our listeners are really interested in lucid dreaming, but some of them have never had a lucid dream. And the way that I like to convey what it's like is like the closest thing I could think of in waking life is when you have an aha moment, like when something like a light clicks on. It's like, oh, this is what this is. So have you ever had an aha moment that you'd want to share, like something that things just clicked?
I probably have in recent memory, but it was probably something very mundane and immediately thrown out of the window.
Yeah, they're often like that. That's the thing. It's like
the most notable thing in the past couple months actually was I was cleaning my shotgun. Right, just went out shooting.
Okay.
Fun, and I took off the little cap that keeps the barrel affixed to the whole thing, slid it off, cleaned it, and then I couldn't get it back on. So I struggled with it for like 45 minutes, like just moving the bolt in whatever way, just trying to jam this barrel back in it, no matter what it takes. And then finally, a heavenly, immaculate click happened, and it just slid right on, and it was woohoo, euphoric.
Nice. I love moments like that.
Mm-hmm. Or when I had the recent idea of making a burrito, except instead of a tortilla, it's a quesadilla. And I thought it was very intelligent for thinking of that, but it's definitely not the first time it's been done.
That is a good idea, regardless.
Nice. Yeah, Taco Bell ought to hire me. Yeah. They're already going downhill. You seen? They got rid of the Mexican pizza.
Oh man. I don't remember the last time I had Taco Bell, but I do remember how
you don't go to Taco Bell because you want tacos. You go to Taco Bell because you want tacos. You want Taco Bell, rather. Because that stuff is disgusting. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very specific time of day and a very specific situation when you're getting Taco Bell.
It's like some Hotel California type stuff where it's always really ominous and something just isn't quite right.
Right. Yeah. It almost feels a little dreamlike, but not in a good type of dreamlike.
Yeah. When you enter a Taco Bell, you're never really sure where you are. Like, it's the entirety of the outside world just goes dim for a little while. Like, that happens in no other fast food restaurant. It's just, oh, wait. I'm inside of a Taco Bell. Where am I? Who am I?
Yeah, so it's good to do a dream check, like a reality check when you go.
Yeah, it's like Inception. You got to do one of the kicks.
Yeah, nice. Oh man. Jacquem. I'm sorry. Did I say it right?
No, Jokum.
Jacquem. Yeah. My bad. So I've really, really enjoyed chatting with you. Clearly, you have very interesting dreams. So I thank you for coming on to the show. And if you ever have any other crazy dream stories that you want to share, you're always welcome back.
Of course, my man.
All right. I appreciate it. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.